Making the flap. To make the flap you will need the 2 strap clasp closures L pieces, which I've already prepared. You'll also need the flap lining piece, the flap outer piece and the 2 quick release locks. Tools you will need are the quilter's rule, wonder tape or quilter's tape. Optional extras you will need a metal handmade tag, 2 double cap rivets, I'm using 9mm, a craft knife and gaffer tape. Later on you will notice I will use an extra tool to punch the holes for my rivets. This next step is optional, so I'm adding my handmade metal tag in this next step. If you don't want to do this, move on to step 1. Find the centre half of the bottom edge, that's the one with the 2 curved edges, and mark that centre. Then from the centre measure up using the measurements within the pattern and mark. Pop the washer over that mark, making sure it's in the centre, and draw 2 small lines where the 2 prongs holes are on the washer. That's those little slits. Oh, and also make sure you're making those marks on the right side of the flap outer. Using the craft knife, cut those 2 slit marks, making sure you cut all the way through to the foam, but make sure you don't cut it too much. Pop the prongs through those 2 cuts from the right side of the flap. Flip over the flap and pop the washer over the prongs and bend those prongs into place. Now pop a little bit of gaffer tape over the prongs and that washer to hold them into place. Taking 1 L piece, making sure you've pressed as per pattern states in step 5 and step 6. Now top stitch 1/4 inch away from the edge on both long edges. Repeat this for the other L piece. Flip the L pieces over so the wrong side is facing up. Measure using the measurement in step 9 from one short edge. Taking the male part of the quick release buckle, feed the strap on to the strap buckle. Using your Wonder Tape stroke quilter's tape, pop a little bit of tape onto the strap and fold it over so it's in place. Repeat this for the other male buckle piece and the other strap. I'm really hoping that you've already made your handle in step 1 to step 3 for this next part. Pop that to one side. Run quilter's tape down the wrong side of each strap, stopping at the measurement stated within the pattern. With the outer flap piece, using the quilter's rule, measure in using the measurement stated in step 11 on one side. Stick the closure strap L piece into place with the buckle slightly overhanging on the bottom edge. Repeat this for the other strap piece and the buckle onto the other side of the flap. Taking the handle, measure down from the top edge using the measurement stated within step 14. Pop the tape onto the two shorter ends of the handle. Then pop the handle at the measurement. Slightly peel back the 2 straps, L pieces. Stick the handle at this measurement so the short ends of the handle are pushed underneath the strap L pieces, and re-stick those L pieces over the top of the handle and into place. Now top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, going down one side of the strap across the buckle, but make sure to sew away from the buckle approximately 1/2 an inch away. Once you've sewn across the strap, sew up the other side 1/8 of an inch away. Repeat this for the other strap. Now this next step is optional. This is where we're going to put the rivets in. I've decided to measure down from the top edge 11.5 inches to place my first rivet. So I make the mark at the measurement in the centre of that strap, and do this on both straps. I'm now using a prim pliers to punch the holes of these 2 marks. This will make me 2 little holes where I can pop my rivets from the right side of the flap . Flip the flap over and pop the 2 caps on the back of the 2 rivets. Now I'm a bit lazy, I'm using a rivet press to press the rivets into place, but if you don't have a rivet place, you can use a household hammer and an anvil to set those rivets. Now the rivets are set, push the clips up out of the way. Now take the lining piece and pop this right side facing down so the outer flap and the lining piece are right sides facing together. Using wonder clips, clip all the way around but leave that top straight edge without no clips on. Now we're going to sew these together using 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. But remember, do not sew over that top edge. That is going to be your turning gap. Now you've sewn all the way around apart from leaving that top edge, you need to trim back the seam allowance by half the amount and snip into those corners. Now you've done all the cutting of the excess seam allowance, turn the flap right side facing out and pushing out the corners and roll those seams. Now taking it over to your ironing board, press from the lining side and use clips to hold the edges into place. Now we're going to take it back to your sewing machine and top stitch 1/4 inch all the way around the edge and making sure you move those buckles out the way as you go. You can now sew over the turning gap so all the edges are closed. Yay! You're finished! The flap, I mean. Now you can pop the flap to one side. We are now going to move on to the next section, how to make the outer slip pocket and outer front panel.